Congratulations.
I do Hangouts. I know. I don't know what you're using. I'd love to talk with you at some point about what you're using and how you're managing.
Oh yeah,
the weird stuff.
This was just a weird thing that happened to me right before this, where Google Plus just kind of crashed. I restarted the browser. I'll be honest. That is what I used.
That's usually what you have to do.
Probably just cruft. I don't know. But yeah. Anyway, so this is the video of us recording the audio podcast that we just do for kicks. So. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready to start the actual audio podcast?
I'm ready. You can give some kicks. Yeah.
Dr. Kicks.
I'm going to get my kicks.
You got your kicks on? All right.
Got them.
Here we go.
If you want to support independent projects and artists and creativity, go to patreon.com. That's patreon.com.
This is the Daily Tech News for Wednesday, May 14th, 2014. I'm Tom Merritt. Joining me today, I'm very excited. It's Dr. Kiki, host of This Week in Science. How's it going, Dr. Kiki?
It's going great. It's so good to be here, Tom.
Hey, thank you for joining me.
Thanks for inviting me.
I need to reciprocate. I know I said, like, in January, that, like, sure, I'll love to be on This Week in Science, but I really would if you still have me.
Yeah, we should do that. I'd love that. Of course.
Yes. But yeah, thank you for coming on here because we got some good quantum stories to talk about. I'm excited.
Ooh, quantum weirdness. I always love it.
And there's also the headlines. PC Mag reports the Pew Research Center released the next in its 8-part series celebrating the 25th anniversary of the web, this time asking more than 1,600 experts what they think the Internet of Things will turn into by 2025. There are more connected devices than humans right now, and that number is growing at a faster rate than the human population is growing. As you can imagine, some experts expect good things like cheaper medical diagnostics, improved safety, more efficient planning of your day. Others worry about the usual privacy from ubiquitous data collection, security against malicious hackers. Also, one person worried we might lose our free will.
Yeah, it's a really small percentage of people who are concerned about us losing our free will. It's good that we have these concerns. I know we're going to be talking about this all a little bit later in the show, so I don't want to dig too deep right now.
We'll save the big conversation for a bit. But yeah, there's some interesting stuff to talk about there. MarketWatch reports that Speaker of the House John Boehner and 3 other House Majority Leaders signed a letter to the FCC Chairman Tom Wheeler warning him not to consider, quote, any plan to impose antiquated regulation on the Internet. FCC is meeting tomorrow to vote on a notice of proposed rulemaking regarding open Internet guidelines. Kiki, nobody wants him to do anything, apparently.
I know. And also, antiquated regulation of the Internet, aren't we already doing that? Aren't people already trying? Nobody's doing it right yet. Come on.
Maybe he's just saying, please don't go back to the Telecommunications Act of 1936.
That might be helpful.
That would be good advice.
Yeah. Good advice.
Reuters reports Yahoo continues its trend of acquiring small mobile startups by buying Meh Labs, makers of Blink, an app that lets users send messages that will self-destruct at a time set by the sender. Now, I should repeat that again because it's possible that all you heard was Yahoo and self-destruct. To repeat, Yahoo has bought a cheaper Snapchat. Oh, and it's shutting down the app, too. Repeat, just the app, Yahoo not shutting down. At least not yet.
Don't blink. Don't even blink. Blink and you're dead.
The Next Web reports Microsoft will refund Xbox Live Gold memberships starting in June for anybody who was paying the fee just to get apps like Netflix, which will become free to access starting in June. You have to wait for the change to take place, but once it does, you can cancel your Xbox Live Gold service and receive a prorated refund. Other than June, no specific date has been set on the change, so you just got to wait for it to happen. CNET reports Mozilla has agreed to include the encrypted media extension standard in the Firefox browser. This makes it easier for copy-protected media to play in the browser. Firefox is the last major player in the browser market to adopt the standard. Because Firefox is open source, and pretty much by definition, DRM modules are not, the module will be downloaded from Adobe after a user installs the browser. The Verge reports Samsung officially apologized for the illnesses and deaths of some of its factory workers. CEO Kwon Oh-hyun said, "We should have settled the issue earlier, and we are deeply heartbroken that we failed to do so and express our deep apology." A documentary released last month uncovered 56 cases of leukemia and other blood cancers among Samsung workers. Tablets failed for years until someone decided they needed an input system suited to tablets, not just a translation of a desktop interface. Well, that's starting to happen for smartwatches. MIT Technology Review reports on a project from Carnegie Mellon University that allows users to control a smartwatch by physically tilting, clicking, or twisting the watch's bezel. Assistant Professor of Human-Computer Interaction at Carnegie Mellon University, Chris Harrison, who worked on the project, thinks the issue with smartwatches is that we can't get the input and output good enough. Harrison is also exploring ways we can control smartwatches without even touching them. And granted, some smartwatches out there have some of these things, but it's interesting to see this all unified. Tesla Motors chief Elon Musk now says he'll be, quote, happy to help make the Nikola Tesla Museum a reality, thus paying tribute to his company's namesake. The Oatmeal's Matthew Inman had done a Kickstarter and raised, or I think it might have been an Indiegogo. He crowdfunded, that's what's safe to say. He crowdfunded funds to save Nikola Tesla's former lab. He did not get enough to actually open the museum, though, which he would like to do to honor the electrical pioneer.
I hope that the money that's coming in from Elon is going to be enough to actually bump it up over the edge. Not just have Tesla be the namesake of the company, but actually do Tesla some more good.
I think it's possible that Elon Musk is actually Nikola Tesla.
Do you think?
Who is an immortal.
He never actually died. You were watching, what was that TV series?
Sanctuary?
Sanctuary.
Yeah,
yes.
that's right. I totally pulled that from Sanctuary. Time for some news from you. These are submitted by our listeners to our subreddit at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. Our top story on the subreddit today was posted by Mr. Anthropology. Business Insider reports on Julian Scott Brusaw's project in Idaho to prototype an industrial-strength solar panel that could withstand the weight of even the largest trucks. Not only could the panel turn roads into solar power collectors, but it could potentially power electric vehicles that drive over the roads. The project already has received 2 phases of funding from the U.S. Federal Highway Administration. The company, called Solar Roadways, now wants to raise $1 million on Indiegogo.
Good luck to that. I think they'll probably have luck and it'll help with their marketing campaign, but at the same time, this is going to be a hugely difficult project to get up and running, to actually have something that will be efficient to be able to generate enough electricity over the long haul, and additionally to have a compound that'll be strong enough to withstand all the stresses of the environment and trucks all at the same time. You know, ideal location for all this, of course, is Australia, but
because it's dry.
Straight through the outback, those roads just
Boom.
collecting power all the time.
Yeah, right. Not going to be anybody driving over them either.
Yeah, except for the giant semi-trains that they have.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right. I forgot about that. I was thinking like happy travelers, but you know, the transit companies would.
Then
you could turn it into electric trucks.
You could turn it into electric trucks, but again, even if you had wheels that were made to collect energy or something like some kind of a device to drag along the road and collect energy from the panels in some way, I just don't understand how it would be efficient enough.
Yeah, I haven't looked at. I mean, apparently they've convinced the Federal Highway Administration to fund them, so they're not totally fly by night, right? They've got science here, but there's got to be some durability tests.
There's some hurdles.
Yeah.
Let's say hurdles.
Captain Kipper posted the TechCrunch article that Google has opened up Google Glass for sale to anybody in the U.S. willing to part with $1,500. This is still part of the Explorer program. They haven't actually launched Google Glass yet, and they will only be on sale while supplies last. Did you ever get Google Glass, Kiki?
I did not. I have never had $1,500 extra dollars to spend. I had an offer. Someone said, "Hey, do you want one?" And I was like, "That'd be awesome."
And then they never gave you. No. Yeah, my wife works for Google, and they're like, no, you can't have them. Unless you pay $1,500.
Yeah, you got to have money. I don't have that.
Mr. Anthropology sent us the GigaOM story about new data from Sandvine showing Netflix's share of primetime download traffic on the internet rising a couple of points to 34.21%. YouTube declined actually a little, 13.1%. The big new power and traffic hoggery is Twitch, though. They're on the scene with 1.35%, putting them right up there near Hulu's 1.74%, and in front of the much more restricted HBO Go's 1.24%. Now, those are all download numbers. If you want to know the winner in upload, you could probably guess it. It's BitTorrent with 24.53% of the upload traffic during prime time, followed by good old HTTP, but Netflix is in there at fourth, 6.44%. So you better work on those ratios, Reed. Get that upload up, and then you can strike some better peering agreements. Just saying. That's a look at the headlines. Do you wear shirts, Dr. Kiki?
I love shirts. Yes, I wear them.
I also. We have so much in common. I also wear shirts.
You wear shirts too? Oh my gosh.
I do. And one of the shirts that I actually need to order, hilariously, is the Daily Tech News Show shirt.
Get one for yourself.
It's got our logo on it. That's the one designed by Mustafa from thepolarcat.com. You can get the shirt in white, black, or ash. And if you're saying, great, that's awesome, Tom, where do I go to get this shirt? What do I have to do? Do I have to do something crazy? No, you can use HTTP. You can be part of that traffic upload that Sandvine is counting by going to /loot.com. That's SLASHLOOT.com. Just look at the podcast section, and you'll find the Daily Tech News Show shirt there. And then you can join me and Dr. Kiki in being a person who wears shirts. Join the club.
One of us. One of us.
So Kiki sent me this story today from New Scientist about quantum positioning, which is apparently 1,000 times more accurate than current positioning systems. Can you explain a little bit about how this works? This is fascinating.
Yeah, so ever since we discovered that we can cool groups of atoms with lasers, we have been playing with that. And so now what they're trying to do is use these groups of atoms that have been cooled down so their motion is slowed, and also made them so that we can kind of watch their movements. Which way do they move? And they get jostled and jerked by things like gravity, or if they were in a submarine, the direction that the submarine is turning. So in this, it's like a quantum accelerometer is what they're trying to do. And a group from the UK, I believe, has put together...
It's the Defense Science and Technology Laboratory, DSTL. Very close to DTNS. We might have to sue them.
Yeah, do it. No, don't. No! It's a meter-long shoebox looking thing, and in September they're going to start trialing it, putting it on land first, but then eventually their idea is that they're going to be sticking it in a submarine to help a submarine figure out where it is underwater. This would get rid of the need for GPS, the need for an antenna, and having to rise up to the surface to be able to maybe get GPS access occasionally. And also having to deal with whether or not GPS is working even. So accuracy is awesome. The lasers that they're trapping atoms with are rubidium. They're going to be trapping 1 million rubidium atoms and cooling them down.
It's funny when you read these stories sometimes. You're like, how could they ever make that portable? But remember, 1 million rubidium atoms doesn't take up much space, right?
It doesn't take up much space. And as long as you have the laser technology and you have all your ducks in a row, technology-wise, it really should not be much of an issue. These have usually been laboratory setups, so you're looking at stuff in a room to be able to cool down these atoms. But things are getting miniaturized. The technology for lasers is miniaturizing. So we're getting to a point where we could trial this now and keep pushing it forward, and in a few years it might be small enough to stick on a submarine.
Now, this ability to track the changes requires a second laser to be focused on the atoms and see when they jostle. But as you mentioned, they also can be jostled not just by the movement of the submarine, in the case of the submarine test that they're going to do, which is I think, coming up 2016, but like a large enough undersea mountain could provide enough of a gravitational perturbation to throw them off.
Absolutely. So we do have to, one of the things they're going to have to deal with is getting an accurate gravitational representation of the bottom of the ocean. So once we have that, no small challenge, we should be able to get rid of those artifacts and only be able to look at what the movement of a submarine is doing, for example. Or maybe we can miniaturize it even further in the future and put it into cars or into other devices. One of the directions that I don't want it to go in, but that of course it will, is to weaponry. So think missiles that we're shooting at other countries, the 1,000 times precision that will be allowed by this kind of technology will allow weapons to become much more accurate should we miniaturize that far as well.
I get what you're saying about not wanting to fire the weapons in the first place, but I also, if somebody is going to fire the weapon, would rather it get to the target that they wanted it to get to than to hit somebody they didn't.
I totally agree. I will agree with that point.
Yeah. And there are lots of other non-military applications for this. They are going to do a land test September 2015. I'll be interesting to see how that works. I guess a gravity map could get us, first of all, it could get us to explore the ocean more, which would be cool. But it's something that's achievable, right? They could finish that, and this would work. Would a gravity map change over time? I'm not talking about geologic time. I mean, is that something you're going to have to update frequently?
I think it would be something that there would be something. I mean, there are major aspects of gravitation that are going to be bigger over larger resolutions, but I think at the really fine scale that they're talking about, we might see shifts depending on what's happening in the mantle. If there are big chunks of things that are moving underneath the surface of the Earth, those could potentially have implications for the overall gravity in a particular area. We do have gravity maps at this point for the large-scale resolution. We've done at least one good measurement of our planet already, and it's really neat to see what our planet looks like gravitationally all over, but the fine scale that they're going to need is going to be the difficulty.
It's really interesting to see that there is better locational research being done. Even if this doesn't end up being the thing, something like this could come along that wouldn't require satellites. And we're seeing the sort of delicacy of a satellite-based system. Russia and the United States are having a spat, and one of the fallouts is that Russia says they're going to shut down the GPS stations in Russia. And unless the United States agrees to put in place stations for GLONASS, which is Russia's version of GPS. So the kind of thing that doesn't rely on anybody else, right, except the people who make the gravity maps, I guess, gives you a little more independence.
Yeah, it would totally give more independence. And additionally, I mean, not just political reasons. What if things happened to our geostationary satellite system that currently gives us GPS? If something were to happen, giant solar flare, who knows what else, something were to stop those from working, GPS would go down. We would not have it. And all of these devices of ours that are GPS connected, your phone, so many things, that in a submarine wouldn't be working.
Yeah, you're not gonna be taking your phone on a submarine anyway, apparently.
Most likely, no.
Gives away your position, but point is well taken. Before we move on, though, I do want to talk about this Pew Internet of Things report that we mentioned up there at the top of the headlines. A lot to talk about in there, obviously. But when I was reading through this, I don't know if you got a chance to page through the actual report or not. I didn't read the entire thing, but I read a good chunk of it. Yeah. It seems like the real value of the Internet of Things, they talk a lot, these experts, about learning our behaviors, right? And the dangers and the benefits of that. Being able to efficiently tell you, like, oh, this is how to get around traffic. Oh, this is about the time that you're cooking, so I'm going to preheat the oven for you. That kind of predictive behavior can help in your daily life. But what about suggesting new behaviors? What about saying, you really ought to go to sleep right now because this is an optimal time for your personality type to get a good night's rest, and you have that meeting tomorrow that you really need to be prepared for. Yeah,
so you suddenly become one of those connected things as well. not just your devices, but you actually. I think that's a really interesting perspective, and it definitely, I think that is something that would eventually happen. I mean, consider we've got genetic information about ourselves. So based on your genes, not just your personality type, but actually based on you've got genes for like early risers. You've got genes like people who are night owls. You've got genes like people who should eat a Mediterranean diet. You know, going from that information about yourself to the devices like your Fitbit or your your phone or your laptop or whatever you're using that keeps you connected, and those recording what you're doing, suddenly it can decide for you when your alarm should be set in the morning.
And it sounds naggy when we talk about it, but if it's done right, if it works right, you know, if it really is looking at your genome and the research is good about what it can draw its conclusions from, you should probably love the things it suggests you eat. You should probably be like, yes, I feel tired. This is the perfect time for me to go to. You would feel better. And that's why Aaron Balick, who's a psychotherapist, a PhD in psychology, worried we could lose sight of our own desires and even some of our own free will if we just become dependent on the Internet of Things doing everything for us.
Or it could go the other way around, and we know that people are starting to respond to things like Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, these social media accounts that surprise us occasionally, kind of like gambling, but with the information that we're seeing. You scroll through Facebook, and you're looking, and you're like, oh, interesting, oh, that's an interesting thing, and suddenly your dopamine system is satiated, and then it's like, okay, back to looking for more stuff. And so it's this addictive cycle that social media has the potential to hold over us. But if we have our Internet of Connected Things, suddenly it can turn Facebook off on you and decide for you that this behavior is not helpful to you anymore because it is time for you to go to bed.
But then still,
So is it like the internet nanny?
Well, do we have free will anyway? I mean, that's a whole other conversation. But it feels like you might be giving up something. So we've got to learn how to use this appropriately. The same way people are like turning off social networks and disconnecting. Being able to say like, okay, I'm going to take time to use the benefits of these sorts of situations to improve myself and to rest and ponder and think deeply or whatever.
I just wonder if there is, a certain percentage of the population who are going to fall prey to not thinking deeply and pondering, and just they will fall into whatever is the trap that
I
is
think a certain percentage
maybe not
already.
Yeah, exactly. This is your life, whatever, I'm just going to do it. There's a certain percentage of the population who are going to be thoughtful, who are going to try to turn off, who are going to try to maintain their free will. And I don't know. I think we have to bring that into the conversation as well. Yeah.
Well, this we have until 2025 to worry about it, but thankfully we have all these smart people thinking about it at the Pew Research
Because
Center.
that's like, that's what's going to happen. 2025, it's all over. Free will is gone.
Free will is gone. 2025. Enjoy it while you got it, folks. Enjoy the illusion of free will while you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right. Once we reach then, it's all over.
By then, Mark Zuckerberg will be 41. Wait, is that right? Wow. Yeah, because it's his birthday today. He turned 30. Happy birthday, Mark Zuckerberg.
Happy birthday.
We have some other things on the calendar,
little.
too. Tiny man. You may have heard that on Thursday, May 15th, the FCC is having a meeting to vote on a notice for proposed rulemaking that could allow big companies like Disney, Google, Netflix, to pay internet service providers like Comcast and Verizon for prioritized delivery of content like video, mostly, is what people talk about. The proposed rules are called the Open Internet Guidelines. We refer to them a lot as net neutrality. Meetings at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time tomorrow morning and will be available at fcc.gov/live. Also, if you ever bought apps at Intel's App Up PC App Store, Thursday is the day they stop working, so enjoy them while you got them. And tomorrow, Nintendo will release its first app. It's not a game. I repeat, the app is not a game. Nintendo will release an Android-only app that tethers smartphones with the Nintendo 3DS. The app will only be released in Japan and is only compatible with 7 new NTT Docomo devices, none of which are currently available.
That's a lot of onlys and nones.
I hope your expectations are properly managed now. Thank you. All right, they've got our pick of the day from Jeremy Dennis called WSUS Offline Update. Windows users, pay attention. This is a tool that uses the Windows Update feature of Windows to download all available updates from Microsoft servers for the products you select. After downloading the files, it can make an ISO image or output the files to a folder for use with a USB drive. Jeremy says, I use it on new builds of computers or virtual machines so I don't have to babysit them while getting them up to date. When you run it on the target system, there are options to automatically restart after rebooting to continue the update process. It really saves time when you have a new Windows install and need to do other stuff while it updates. So check it out, wsusoffline.net. And you can find all our picks at dailytechnewsshow.com/picks. All right, we got some messages. Our first one comes from Toby Pinder about this net neutrality debate.
Hi Tom, I just had to weigh in on a particular aspect of the net neutrality topic. I'm noticing yourself and others across a spectrum of opinions on the topic mostly agree on one thing: the quality of service to prioritize time-sensitive
Well, seems possible that Toby Pinder has broken the internet.
I think it is possible.
I think we've identified the issue, which may have something to do with playing certain sound files. So that's very exciting. It was a great show.
It was a fabulous show. I loved getting to talk with Tom.
We made it through all the important things.
Yes, we just missed a few comments at the very end.
I know, that's actually all the important things.
Yeah. Will Tom read the messages of the day later? Because I can read them.
Yes, I think we'll post Toby Pinder's death to the internet file in the show notes, and then Tom will read the rest of the messages, and we will keep going. I see him reappearing slowly. I see another Tom.
But where I do agree with Toby is that that's and like him, I worry about slippery slopes. But you do have to be careful that a slippery slope that you don't make it easy, right? And so by saying we're going to allow commercial prioritization, you may open the window to all kinds of things. What Tom Wheeler's been trying to do is say absolutely not. We're not going to allow any kind of shaping, anything like that, anything that looks or smells like that. But you just got to trust him on that. That's not built into the rules. I know on the video I dropped out, so we're back now, Kiki, and it looks like you're muted. So
I just muted myself briefly because I knew you were going to be talking for a while. So.
Okay, so now I'm done with my rant. I know you probably didn't get to hear the end of Toby's call there either. Apologies for that. But what he's saying is the slippery slope is if you allow commercially reasonable discrimination, which involves packet inspection, which, as I mentioned, already happens, you could eventually have all kinds of weird packet shaping going on and privacy implications.
Yikes.
So you gotta look out for that sort of stuff.
You do have to. I think there's so much that needs to happen in the sense of people talking about privacy implications on a general level. People who are really into network security and kind of at the bleeding edge of using technology think about those things and talk about them amongst themselves. But it's the everyday user who is just at a loss and doesn't realize what's going on until it happens.
We got some emails about the Moto E as well. Techno Squid said enthusiasts tend to have the knee-jerk reaction to assume any lower spec phone is for emerging markets. For anyone comfortable signing a 2-year contract in exchange for a subsidy, that's probably the only demographic they can imagine it appealing to. I think there's another type of emerging market that the Moto E is aimed at, the ever-expanding world of MVNOs. If you've ever walked through the carrier prepaid and MVNO section of a Target or Walmart, you'll see plenty of lower res screens, low storage capacity, and missing features such as front-facing camera and LED flash. This is a market that Motorola was sort of in with the Moto G, some MVNOs even discounting well below retail price as a loss leader. What the Moto E gives them is an option that can look like a premium device alongside an MVNO's stock of similarly priced low-end options from LG, HTC, Alcatel, ZTE, etc. This is a really good point, and I do think, Techno Squid, that we go to the emerging market discussion so quickly, so often, because it's where the money is, it's where the growth is, and those MVNO markets are not considered high growth options. So if a company like a BlackBerry or if a Firefox OS wants to make a big dent and get a lot of customers fast, that's the market they have to go into. But you're right, you shouldn't ignore the fact that those MVNO markets, kind of those middle markets, are a great place where Motorola can sell a lot of these as well. I think the Moto G was targeted towards that. Did you see much about this Moto E $129 phone, Kiki?
No, I haven't.
It's really nifty. However, Steve in Chicago, a.k.a. the succinct Windows fanboy, Windows Phone fanboy, says, I have a name to live up to, so just wanted to point out that the Nokia Lumia 520 is a great smartphone with similar specs to the Moto E. I picked one up for the in-laws for $60 off contract and got them set up with AIO wireless for $35 a month. It's $35 if you do the auto pay. It's great, too, since they can actually see the tiles without the need for their reading glasses. On a side note, I was having trouble with Xbox One recognizing me, too, but I kept choosing the I wasn't recognized option while signing in. After doing that a couple times, it started to work just fine. Oh, maybe I just need to talk to my Xbox more. A correction. Nikolai pointed out that he was listening to the show, and Molly and I were complaining that there's no dual SIM in the Moto E, which is important for emerging markets. And he said, no, there is a dual SIM. He sent us a link to the Western Europe version of the Motorola website, and dual SIM is listed there. So apparently there will be different models of the Moto E in different markets, some of which will have dual SIM. So thank you for the correction, Nikolai.
Interesting.
All right, Dr. Kiki, I'm sorry about the technical issues today, but it was great having you on.
It was wonderful to be on, Tom. Thank you so much.
You all should go out and support This Week in Science at twiz.org, TWIS.org. It's one of the longest running shows on the internet, and it's fantastic. If you want to learn about science, it's definitely the place to check in every week.
We have a lot of fun, and I do hope that people try it out. Come on, it's science!
It is. It's science,
Right?
and it's fun. You guys do a great job with it. I really love that show. I'm a patron myself.
I know you are. Thank you so much.
And tell us about your new show that you've been doing on YouTube as well.
Yeah, so we started a new show called Smart App Moms, and it is a show to help parents or childcare people figure out what apps that are out in the app markets are appropriate for their kids. And we base it on not just, what the exciting aspects of the game are, but use a little bit of neuroscience, cognitive development, and child behavior to come up with our decisions on what we think is good and what's not.
That's fantastic. So where do folks go again if they want to get a hold of that?
You look for Smart App Moms in the YouTube.
In the YouTubes. And you're working with my old friend Jeff Stewart on that. That's awesome.
I am working with Jeff. Yeah, we're having fun.
Good. I'm glad. Well, that's it for us. Patrons, I thank you for your help on the show, patreon.com/acedetect or bit.ly/helpdtns. I really appreciate all the people who see some value in the show and give a little value back. We definitely appreciate it. Don't forget, you can have a voice in what stories we cover at our subreddit, dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. You can email us, feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. Give us a call, 512-59-DAILY. That's 512-593-2459. And listen to the show live, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 1:30 p.m. Pacific at mobile.alphageekradio.com. Our website is dailytechnewsshow.com. We'll be back tomorrow with Justin Robert Young as our guest. See you then.
This podcast is part of the Frogpants Studios Network. For more information about this and other shows, visit frogpants.com. Audio program is so good, it's like you're there.
And what a day. Well, that was just weird.
So we're going to have a plan. We're going to have a planning conference.
Something about the sound files.
Yeah, I've got a backup
Yeah.
of the sound file, so that's going to be fine.
You may have to delete me jumping in the middle of the show because I felt very bad that Dr. Kiki was sitting there all by herself.
I know. I mean, there was a
if
little
I'd
bit
sat
of.
there by myself for a while, eventually I would have like started dancing or telling,
know.
you know,
There were one or
telling science
two.
stories.
There were one or two words that you threw in there, but I know it's not a big deal. It would be more trouble than it's worth to try to remove them, I think.
Right. Wait, did I say bad words on your show?
No.
You said I'd have to edit you out, and I don't think I need to.
Oh, I was saying you had to edit me out because I said some terrible words, and I was like, no.
Did you?
No, I didn't.
No.
No.
Oh, well, then why are you saying you needed to be edited out?
Because I interrupted your show when you disappeared and came back in, and so there's a whole part of me
all
talking
I'm
on
saying
the
is,
show.
all I said, I didn't say anything about bad words. I said there were only a couple words that you said before you stopped. So, and I don't even know what they
No,
were.
actually, we were talking for like a minute and a half.
Yeah, but
Am I
that's not
wrong?
on the audio recording. That's what I'm saying. Does that make sense?
I thought you said you was okay, Spider.
I'm saying your interruption on the audio recording was only like 2 words.
I'll take your word for it.
Because I'm recording what I see, and you were gone.
Oh, right. Okay. That makes sense now.
Nah, you got it.
I'm still thinking I said terrible words.
You did not. I was listening.
wasn't
I
anything
know.
about
I
the
thought I
No.
was. Oh boy. Today of all days. All right. Well, that was a good show.
I thought it was good.
It was a great show.
It was fun.
I got a little thrown off when I disappeared.
Disappeared from
You
it.
came
Yeah,
back
that would.
You came back with a plum.
Well, I just kept
I
talking.
liked it. Yeah, I like that you actually came back in the middle of exactly what you were still saying, which surprised me.
This
Well,
is what
because-
makes Tom's a
because-
professional.
Alpha Geek Radio was still streaming, and the audio recording was still going. So nobody on the audio recording knew anything was wrong, because I was just in the middle of what I was saying. So all I did was kept talking, probably sounding a little more like this than I might usually.
Because you're
until
trying
I
to
got
figure out.
reconnected. Yeah. And then if I had not been able to reconnect you, I probably would have just wrapped up the show and then tried to.
Right.
and
Right. Yeah, I had that's like, you know what happened? It's like my television producer, deathly aversion to dead air.
Well, except you only had dead air.
Yeah, I know. But it's a reflex that's so powerful after so many years that if there's dead air, I can't stand it. It's like the worst thing that could possibly happen. It's sort of like my version of TV PTSD.
Right. Well, and I have that too, but because I was still hearing myself talk,
Yeah.
I guess, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
It was okay. Okay.
Oh,
Next time, Jenny, just go zen.
I know. I can't do it when it comes to dead air. It's like it's the ultimate crime in television, and I have to remember every once in a while we're not in television. Okay. I'm looking.
I'm with you. I don't want dead air either, so
Yeah.
I got no problem with that.
We have GPS Niet. We have quantum super accurate positioning. There was another one that was good.
This may change the way I do my editing from now on, actually.
Yeah.
Because I'm using the Alpha Geek Radio source because the hijack audio got broken because it was hijacking Chromecast and Chrome went away.
Oh,
That's an issue.
And it's a much more even looking thing. Anyway.
Yeah, but it also has me yapping away,
No, it
right? Alpha
Nope.
Geek.
No. Alpha Geek is coming out of my system. That's what I was trying to say earlier. Is the only thing that has you talking is the YouTube video.
Oh, good. Someday I'll understand it, but it'll probably take drawing a picture.
No, it's just Alpha
If
Geek
I didn't plug it in, yeah, but if I
Alpha
don't
Geek
plug it, here's my
only-
problem. I'm experientially based. If I don't plug it in myself, I'm just not going to understand it because you plugged it in, so you understand it.
Alpha
You
Geek is
understand
only
all the
streaming.
levels of layering.
Let me try this. Alpha Geek is
All
only
right.
streaming what I hear in my headphones.
Ooh, here's one. How about 2025? It's alive.
That's a good one. Yeah. You just have too many layers of things going on there.
So that doesn't make sense to you that it's only streaming what I hear.
I'm
in my
sure it
headphones?
does, but
No, it doesn't. Okay.
I get it. I
2025,
got
it's
it.
alive?
I got it. I thought
Toby
it through.
Pinder is taking it personally that the stream went down during his call.
Oh, so the title should be "It's Toby Pinder's Fault."
No, because I don't want to acknowledge it.
Scott Bakula marks the spot. I like that. That has 75 levels of clever.
I like 2025. It's alive.
Yeah, it's the simpler one. But props to Beatmaster because I like that.
Okay.
Aaron Byrne was asking if I just got my BA in biology math. Am I still a scientist even though it's not a BS degree? If you think like a scientist, you're a scientist.
Yes.
That's what I think.
Is that right?
That's what every scientist before collegiate degrees did. They just tried to figure stuff out.
If you approach life like a scientist, you're a scientist.
By the way, Tom,
most recent
Crucial Wax
Cosmos.
just explained it to me in a way that's perfectly understandable. YouTube is just one of the inputs into your stream. That's all I needed. I always think of it as, because it's right in front of my face, as the primary. But it's
YouTube is
just
one
one
input into the Alpha Geek radio stream.
Yes.
Alpha Geek Radio.
So that makes sense to me. Inputs and outputs.
and Alpha Geek Radio? What?
We are not streaming on Alpha Geek Radio anymore because I had to stop it.
No, we got kicked.
No, I stopped it. I stopped it in order to be able to record, to take the file and use it for the production.
Right.
I just realized, Tom, another
Yeah,
reason why
that
you have
works.
to do Friday's show.
What?
It just occurred to me right now. Who would publish it?
You? Well, I could publish it
Huh?
anyway. But I publish it when we do the news from you. It'd be the same as that.
No, I publish it when you do the news from you.
Well, then you could publish it.
Yeah, but it would be live, so it would be a YouTube-y.
Yeah, so
No,
it
never
would
mind.
just be
Yeah.
you'd have to do one more
There'd
step.
be 4 more steps or something. That's the part I was getting to.
Yeah, you'd have to
Today-
add a couple steps.
Today, the part of the stupid ingenue is played by Jenny Josephson. I don't know what my problem is. I only have a BA.
Blink, you're dead.
Yeah. Rubium on railsinum.
Rubinium on railsinium.
Rubinium is good.
That's such a good attempt. All right, there's.
I gotta get my show notes ready, because now I'm already late. Ugh.
Fun things and stuffs.
All right. We're just hanging out while I publish, Kiki. If you need to go, by all means, go.
I probably should go. I'm just
Understand.
poking around. I'm like poking around at things. I'm like, what's this? What's that? What's going on? I'm hanging out while you publish also.
That's
there
fine.
we go.
I like it.
Yeah. Fun. So you use the Alpha Geek Radio platform to record? Or are
Actually,
you capturing, like, because you said you had hijack also. Are you recording
What I
On
used to do
your
is
device, or do
I
you
would just
two?
take the YouTube file and turn it into audio.
Right, which is what I do.
Which would have been difficult. That would have caused problems if I still did that today, because I would have then
Editing.
what Jenny was worried about would be a big issue, right?
Right.
But then what I started to do was audio hijack Chrome so that I'm taking anything that's going into or out of the Hangout and I'm recording it. And
Okay, so
that's
it captures everything.
So what I usually do is just I take that audio hijack file and then I put that into Audacity, and take off the extraneous bits and turn the podcast.
Yeah.
As a side effect, Todd Whitehead very wisely sets up the streamer software for Alpha Geek Radio called Butt to make a local copy of anything streamed to Alpha Geek Radio, and it saves it to my hard drive. And so that's what saved me today was that tertiary.
That was still
system.
going.
Yeah. Because otherwise I would have had to remember to restart audio hijack and then stitch the two together.
Yeah.
So you had 3 different scenarios there.
That's interesting. Yeah, it's good. I love the Chrome Hangout platform interface, but there are these bugs and things that occasionally they don't show up all the time, but they do sometimes, like you playing the sound files today, how that crashed it.
It didn't. It wasn't the sound file that crashed it. I don't think it was just. It was acting weird before the show. So I just have a feeling there's something. I think I probably need to restart the Mac Mini that this runs on because there's something that's just losing connectivity. Because I was having a problem. The reason I knew we were about to have a problem with the Hangout is the Google Doc started to go saving. I'm like, shouldn't be saving anything. I'm not doing anything. Which all that meant is like it was having a hard time connecting.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling there's just some weirdness in the connectivity, which might actually have nothing to do with Hangout, frankly.
I just think of everything as beta. So
yeah. And it's not like Skype has more or fewer problems than Hangout.
Oh my gosh, I've had more problems with Skype over the last year or two since the Comcast purchase.
Considering we've done almost 100 shows, and this is the first time we lost you, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty
I
good.
agree.
I say that's a very good track record. Bravo.
Agree.
Bravo.
It's just the nature of the beast that it's not always going to work.
Yep.
Yeah. So I am going to go because I have a couple of things to do before the end of the day. But we should get together and schedule when you're going to be on TWIS.
Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to invite myself.
I've invited you before, and then we just never revisited it. So I am down with that. Let's make it happen.
Let's do it. Be great.
Cool.
Bye.
Bye, Kiki.
Bye, you guys. Thank you so much. I had a really good time, and it's just wonderful to be able to be a part of this. So
that was great. Yeah, I love having you.
Thanks. Have a wonderful day.
Contact you about being on the show in June.
Ooh, again?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You're like, yeah, you're coming back. Okay. Awesome. I look forward to it. All right.
All right. Bye.
Bye. All right, I'm out of the blog post, so I'm going to stop the broadcast now. Bye, broadcast.
Yeah. Bye, podcast.